Zone of the Enders. Hello everyone, welcome. It's time! Oh my god. Persona Golden Week begins. This is going to be a little crazy. It's going to be a little nuts. The amount of streams I'm doing this week. But I am looking forward to it. 5 streams this week. And depending on where I am, I have basically the idea is that these streams are going to be at a minimum of 3 hours. And the extension time will be over the 3 hour mark. So the streams could go on for an additional hour depending on how things go. If we're like mid cutscenes and I don't have a chance to get out. But yeah, there's going to be a couple of regulations of this. But I'll get into that when we start the stream, because I got a lot of news to get through. It's been like 9 days since the last stream, so I've got a bunch of recordings, a few changes to my current series, and other stuff. So let's get through it, shall we? Let's get started. Right. The news. Also, I'm using a blue background this time instead of the green background with the chroma key. Because I realised that blue is a lot less prevalent in the images today, so I think it will allow things to pop out a little bit better. So we've moved on from green screen to blue screen, basically. Not blue screen of death, just blue screen. You can kind of see the edge of some of the stuff is blue as well here. But yes, Persona 5 Golden Week, 5 streams today, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Monday. We are doing this in celebration of Golden Week in Japan. That is basically a 7-day holiday which starts from the 29th of April all the way to next Tuesday. I didn't realise it didn't start on Monday, obviously, because in Japan they're ahead of us. But yeah, hopefully that is fun. I know Tom is in Japan at the moment, but hopefully he's enjoying the Golden Week. I have no idea what kind of happens over there, but I'm gonna find out across this week, I guess. So, I've been experimenting with different series, trying to work out what I enjoy making on YouTube, and I like doing shorter stuff because it's easier to upload, and there's less editing involved. I like editing, but I also like doing a lot of things, and I can't edit them to the quality I want to if I'm doing a lot. So, I decided to split Quick Harvest, which is my like short segment videos, into 3 different parts. So Quick Harvest video games, Quick Harvest TV shows, and Quick Harvest rankings. I might change TV shows to just any like watching media. I don't know what I'd call it. I was thinking of calling it like something like Premiere or streaming, Quick Harvest streaming. I don't know. I think streaming would be a little bit confusing considering I do Twitch streaming. I like Quick Harvest Premiere though. I think that's a pretty good title. But yeah, self-explanatory. Quick Harvest video games are going to be about video games. Quick Harvest TV shows are going to be reviewing TV shows as they come out. And Quick Harvest rankings is going to be rankings like tier lists. Claire Obscure, Expedition 33. There are 4 delicious VODs which you can see on YouTube right now. They are quite chonky. This is going to be a scattershot series where I'm not really going to have a lot of chance to play this across the next month, next week because of Golden Week. So instead, here are 4 parts, and I'm gonna try and get in another one tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. But this is a very good game so far. I like the dark twists and turns. It's also a beautiful looking game. They take some ideas like coral reefs, a lot of like beach ideas really well, and the dialogue is excellent between the characters. I am curious to see where it goes. I want to know. I'm in Act 2 now, and some shit has gone down at the end of Act 1. And we have met Ben Starr's character now, Verso. In the opposite end of that spectrum, Final Fantasy IV The After Years is an absolute slog, and I am taking a massive amount of time to finish this. I'm struggling with it, chat, considering it is basically Final Fantasy IV just rearranged with a bit more story for the new characters, and it isn't interesting. It's really boring. So I don't know how to feel about After Years. I am going to be recording it, but again, it's going to be very slow across the coming weeks because of Golden Week. Doom's coming out soon. I'm going to want to do some scat shots on Night Rain. I'm scared, chat. There's not going to be a whole lot of time for After Years coming up, but I'll fit it in where I can. Speaking of recordings, the continuation of Flower Suffers In, where I played probably my least favourite game in the Flower Suffers series so far. That's including the first 3 Ninja Gaidens, Castlevania Bloodlines, and the first Shinobi game. This was pretty rough control-wise. It controlled terribly, and I had a look to find out what people thought of this, and they were praising it out of the world. I like how it looks. I think the game's beautiful. Sega Genesis, like, crazy good visuals for the Sega Genesis. The waves were incredible. The bosses were really cool. I like how they were designed, like, visually anyway. But the controls were utter garbage. You could barely move. It was like Circle of the Moon combat. This was so slow. And he had limited kunai too. I just did not enjoy how this game played, and it became a very meandering, awful mess. Saying that, I do praise the visuals a lot, so you can see that at the very least. Moving on, there's a lot to talk about, chat. I did a small boss ranking. I ranked all the bosses in Kazam, because I finished that as well, mainly so I could play Blueprints. Very good boss design, but it kind of has a lot of similarities to Neo, I think, where the level design itself is really boring. The levels aren't that interesting, like a castle, quarry, cave, sewer. That's what you're kind of getting into here. But the bosses themselves are brilliant. Fantastic boss fights. There's not a single boss in this game that's that's easy. They're all difficult in some manner. There are bosses I like more than others. There are some bosses that I absolutely adore, but there are also ones that I hate. So watch the video if you want to find out. If you don't want spoilers, play the game yourself. They're pretty good Souls-like. I enjoyed it. Quick Harvest TV show catch-up. I did 3 videos, chat, because I knew this news segment was going to be long. So I was like, okay, I can't fit this into the news. So here are 3 videos. I review the first 3 episodes of Andor. I did the last of us, Season 2, Episode 2. And I also reviewed a few episodes of RE0. But speaking of stuff I can talk about, because I need to make this actual videos, it's Last of Us Season 2, Episode 3. I can already see the complaints about this episode from the media illiterate people online who will be like, this episode is slow, nothing happens, there's no action, why are we just sitting in rooms talking? Well, my dear audience, the reason for that is this is following a pretty big, devastating event that occurs in the plot. Joel is dead. The whole of Jackson, the base they live in, has been attacked. There is a time skip after that episode, and we're seeing everyone picking up the pieces. I was watching the podcast of the official, with the creators of the show, and they were talking about how they went about making this episode. It's really worth watching if you want to know why they made certain decisions, certain changes. I don't know how I feel about certain structural changes. It feels like they're making the wolves out to be just straight up bad guys in this, like evil, mustache twirling villains, which I guess is what they were kind of in the game as well, but they weren't like evil necessarily. They were just a settlement, and you kind of got to see the other side of it. Maybe that's what they're doing. They're showing the dark side of them first, and then showing kind of the behind the scenes afterwards when we get to the Abby's perspective. But I enjoyed seeing Ellie like slowly leave Jackson on her journey to Seattle. I cannot wait to see more of Seattle and what we get to there. That's going to be fun. What else to say about it? they made that character Earl, the guy who throws a slur at Ellie and Dina. They made him more of a character in this. He gets to help Ellie and kind of show her that not everyone is just one-dimensional. We also got a good little speech in the episode about how Avenge is bad, which I find very humorous because people said that was very on the nose, and I'm kind of the mindset of it kind of has to be on the nose, because unlike in the game where it's kind of spread out and you slowly can just experience it across a very short amount of time because you have the entire game in front of you. You're not waiting week by week. I like that they're contesting the themes in this episode, like the importance of justice, vengeance, revenge, like duty. Good episode. Very slow. Probably the weakest of the season so far, but again, we kind of need it. It's the setup episode. It's the one that's going to lead us into the cool stuff. It's going to be Seattle, the underground zombie chase, where we're going to meet the well, they're not called bloaters, what are they? The ones that throw like toxin at people. I forget what they're called, but spitters or whatever they were named. We're gonna get the theater scene. Probably gonna get Ellie torturing Nora in this season as well. I have no idea how far we're going to get, but we'll see. Moving on. We can't turn off the spoiler talk yet, chat, because it's time to talk about Peak. Peak being RE0. The show that keeps giving. It keeps finding new ways to hook me. Like, in the leg. And I start crying in pain. That's what this show does. It's painfully good. Like, it makes other fantasy media look bad with how good it is. I want to read the graphic novels after season 3 because apparently this is not a manga, this is based on a graphic novel. Which is different. I kind of want to read it because I'm looking forward to seeing all that juicy text. Also, I want to read the what ifs as well because there's apparently a whole book basically the author did of a what if scenario following certain events. Like a Subaru had done a certain thing instead of going down this route, and I really want to see that. But yeah, we got a couple of things to say. I got a lot of things to say actually about about these 4 episodes. I think that the show has introduced both my favorite villain now and my least favorite villain. In the form of, we'll go through it in reverse order. So we'll start with Regulus. He's a absolute pile of garbage, and I hate him. He makes me feel sick whenever he appears on screen. I think they did a really good job of that so far. You can kind of see how dumb he is too. He's a complete idiot. Which is why I'm glad we've got the other villain in this episode, in the form of the Archbishop of not this episode, all 4 episodes, in the form of Archbishop of Lust, where we get introduced to Capella, who I think is probably the most interesting villain so far, and it's helped by the fact that she gets not 1 villain introduction scene, but 2 villain introduction scenes that are both fantastic. I think this is in top 5 best villain introduction scenes I've seen in anything. It's great. It's fantastic. It's up there with Petelgeist's villain scene in season 1 of RE0. Because she's just eating the scenery. I don't know who her voice actress is, but they are crushing it. Same with Subaru's voice actor, as always. But, yeah, the animation on her is great. I'm not saying that in oh, she's female, that means she's hot. No, it's the opposite. It's grotesque, it's awful. Yeah, unlike the other characters who seem insane, she seems the most sane out of all of them, and it makes her scarier, I think. Because some of the stuff she says is actually true. I'm like, oh god, yeah, no, that is the societal standard of beauty. She's not wrong about that. She brings up an interesting statement of well, if you like Amelia because of how she looks to a certain extent, if he was grotesque and disgusting, would you still stay with her? And like, would he? I don't think he would, to be honest. Don't know. Would he stay with the waifu version of her in season 2? I hope not, because that was the most fucked up death I think in the entire show, where Subaru gets waifu Amelia through being dead. I forget how that happened, but it was terrifying. What else happened in these 4 episodes? Oh yeah, we saw Priscilla like go into Dark Souls mode. Her and like Al are literally just Dark Souls characters. And then we got Subaru's speech in episode 7, which I think is fantastic. Probably one of the best episodes of the show. It's just it's an episode of just characters in a room talking, and it's probably the most interesting episode of the season. It really fleshes out his character arc. It further explores him as a character, and his speech was great. I enjoyed him doing the speech. Go Subaru. And like how Owl says it, if you fuck up now, you're done. Luckily, Subaru has the save point system, so he doesn't have to be too scared about that. Which, I will say, chat, I kind of don't really think Return by Death is working that well in the season for me, because they haven't really used it in an effective way. Like, season 2 really makes you feel desperate with how much it's used at the beginning of season 2. But in this season, it was used for shock value, explaining a villain's power, and then it hasn't come back yet. I suppose a part of it is just waiting for it to happen as well, but it's kind of taken a back seat in this season, which I don't mind, because we're focusing more so on broader character development. But I think that's the show's entire like point. Like, it's starting life in another world. Well, we need deaths. We need Subaru to suffer. He's not been suffering enough. Well, that's a lie. He has. I think him not returning by death is making it even worse for him, to be fair. This might be a bit too late to say this. Where you get Subaru from his name? Is it joke or just mispronounced? I've been mispronouncing it the entire time. I just can't get out of calling him a different name. But that's how I've always been saying it. I know his name is pronounced Subaru, but I always call him Subaru because I'm an idiot. I think Amelia calls him Subaru. Anyway. Currently playing, chat. Blueprints. I will say without spoiling, I discovered a way to make an elevator descend. I wasn't able to get into that room because of some bullshit. The library was locked, and I was like, you fuck, Blueprints. I can't get in there. I used too many keys. But yeah, I've now discovered how to make an elevator go down, and I want to get in that elevator. That's my next goal. Get in the elevator, find out where it goes. How are you finding it? It is brilliant. Admittedly, at first I was a bit, oh god, okay, this is a bit sloggy. But once I got really into it, I was like, yeah, this is just Outer Wilds. This is like a door simulator Outer Wilds. Because the puzzles are difficult, but not too hard to figure out. And once you figure them out, it feels really good. I will say, the lack of like a note system in the game. I know the game says make your own notes. I kind of wish there was a thing like an Outer Wilds where it has like a mind map. Because I am making notes, but I don't know what I'm missing necessarily from a puzzle, and having to go back there and find it is going to be a little bit annoying later on, I think. It's kind of like the Animal Well thing, where it's cool, I like the puzzles, but I need to go back to the room to work out what even the solution is. And if I end up going down the wrong trail of thought, I'm going to be wasting time, basically.